Welcome to one of our other interviews for New Day. We're back to talk to Miss Megan today. This is JP's wife. We've talked to him a little bit before, but we're just going to get to know her a little bit and get her intake on New Day and what we do and all of those things. So thank you for joining us. So Megan, introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about you, what you do here with New Day, all that.
I'm Megan Phillips. I am part of one of the starting families of New Day. My main role now that we are up and running is childcare, so organizing childcare every month for our big meetings and making sure that we have adequate sitters to cover childcare so that those families that are coming and childcare may be a hindrance, we can offer that for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And which is a huge help because we do end up usually having a good bit of kids, especially when we have guests and people that are not the norm coming in. So
yes.
Okay, so like you said, you are part of the original group that, got New Day together and came up with the idea and all of that. So talk to us about that a little bit. Like, what was the process? How did that come about? Like, what was your part in figuring it out? I know Leslie said that she contacted you when she had that dream, hoping you'd talk her out of it, and it didn't happen.
Yes. So our families had all walked through addiction in one way or another, and my friend Les and I went to dinner one night, and she brought up a dream that she had about a need for families struggling with addiction in our area, our local area, and I kind of sat on it for a minute, and I was like, you got to do something about this, I think they've been given these visions and these dreams for a reason, and I definitely think that need is here in our community, kind of a taboo subject, but when you really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of it, you realize how many families around you and how many are really, struggling with the same things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think too, like you said, it is taboo, but there's so many people that even maybe are like, oh, I just drink a little bit, or I just, they don't really even realize that that's the problem.
It's a struggle, yeah.
So that's great that y'all did that. We have New Day now. And thank the Lord for you and encouraging Leslie, because we know she was not necessarily
She didn't
sure
like me in the moment.
Yeah. So that's awesome. So like you said, you have walked through this journey as a spouse, with JP and everything. So if you're comfortable with it, just kind of talk to us about that. Like, what did y'all have to do? You specifically, getting through that healing, all of that, and maybe even how New Day helped you with that a little bit.
So John struggled with substances, and it was becoming a problem and affecting our family. And I just kind of reached a breaking point where I didn't want our future to look like that. Right. And I am not a very vulnerable person, and I don't really like letting people into the messes of life. I just kind of want to figure it out on my own. But I did have a good friend who was also part of the original families, just kind of stopped me one day and said, we see this problem, and we are there for you no matter what that looks like. And I think that gave me permission to address it and say, like, this stops here, and we either figure this out or that's it, There was no other choice. We weren't going to continue doing what we were doing, and it's kind of that keep doing what you're doing, hoping for different results.
Right.
And that wasn't going to happen. So that just kind of gave me the strength to know that we had a village around us, not only supporting myself and our kids, but also supporting John. And so we decided to, do an intervention, and John went off, and that it really has changed our lives. Absolutely. Our family dynamics are a lot different than they were 6 years ago.
Yeah, so, absolutely. Well, and so, like you said, some of the original families did help with that. And once he went through the program, then that's when New Day came about.
Yes.
So it led to all of that too. So that's really awesome. So how do you think, as far as New Day's part in y'all's lives, how do you think that's helped either you, JP, both? Like, how has that been a part of all that?
I think it is amazing. None of it is a coincidence that all four of our families were at Capstone. Some of us already knew each other before, addiction, and some of us came into each other's lives in the thick of it. And so I think that just watching this beautiful thing grow from brokenness, but also just giving that accountability. With the people who have struggled, but also the support for families that is so needed when you're walking through that.
Absolutely, I'm glad you brought that up, because that's why I want to do these interviews with our family members too, because it's so important, and they need support just as much as the addict themselves do. So we definitely want to put an emphasis that we're here for both. So that's awesome. So. As far as with New Day and like all of our what we do, what our purpose is. What if somebody were to come up, on the street and just be like, hey, what do y'all do? What would you tell them?
I see New Day as a community that rallies around not only the addict, but the members of family or even friends that have kind of suffered the consequences of that addiction.
Sure.
Sometimes it's easy to think that as an addict, bridges are burned, and sometimes that is the case with family and friends. But I think that New Day gives you the support and that hope that you need, even if you feel like you're alone.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that about New Day myself. It's the community, and like you said, sometimes we can't repair it, but we need that support to repair ourselves, regardless of whether we can fix the relationship with others or not. So, I love that. So I did have one question I wanted to throw in there too. I do like to ask this of everybody, but like, what's your favorite memory with New Day, or like something you've done with New Day, anything like that? What would be your favorite thing?
I think my favorite memory would probably be our first big group meeting. Mm-hmm. It was just, all of these months of planning and dreaming about what this would look like. And we had a guest speaker come, and he said, you families that have started this, help is on the way. Because it kind of felt like, how are we going to manage all of this? And it just is so incredible to see the fruit of that now. Like you stepping into this role and kind of leading and doing things. It's just, God has placed these people to do things that that we weren't planning on, like the people that have come alongside us and helped lead it and help it grow.
And that's the awesome story of God, right? We may not see it, but He's got it. We just gotta do what He wants us to do. So my final question for you, with everybody watching and all of that, what would be like your words of wisdom for them, or advice if they're maybe facing the same things you were?
That there's hope, even when you feel like you're just kind of wallowing in the mud and doing what's comfortable, that there is hope for you, there's hope for your family, and that there's people that are willing to walk alongside you and share the heavy and share the messy stuff with you.
Absolutely. I love that. And that's so true, because I think that's the most dangerous thing about addiction is the isolation, because we feel that shame and we just want to hide from it, but that's where the devil gets his power. So we have to face it. Love that. Well, thank you, Megan, so much for joining us. Guys, thank y'all for coming to watch and hear a little bit more about us. We hope we've answered some questions for you, or maybe even brought some questions up, so that way you can, contact us, and we'll be happy to help in any way we can, whether you are struggling with an addiction or you are a family member, whatever the situation is. That's what we're here for, so please don't hesitate. And thank you once again, and we'll be back next month with another interview for you. Have a good day.